Hello, good morning, wherever you are. This is the Blackshirt Breakdown. I am Steve Marget, staff writer at Inside Nebraska, and he is the Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, we have a win to break down here. The Huskers get a 35-11 victory at home over Northern Illinois. Matt Rule's first true game, I should say, inside Memorial Stadium. It probably should have been 35-3, but Northern Illinois tacked on a touchdown and 2-point conversion with 4 seconds left in the game. But you know what? A win is a win, and I think Nebraska showed some really good things. And obviously, a lot of talk about Heinrich Haarberg. He got the start
Right.
at quarterback and did pretty well. I think. I don't think the moment was too big for him. I think a lot of people were kind of wondering. We all knew about the rushing instincts with him. He's an excellent rusher, just like Jeff Sims is. But a lot of people were kind of wondering about what he would look like through the air as a passer. And I think he kind of held his own and showed some good things. But Jay, just overall, what were your thoughts on Nebraska's 35-11 win over the Huskies?
I thought the first drive was really good, for everybody and the fans, the team, obviously Heinrich Haarberg going out there and they, walked the ball down the field. And then,
Yep.
really, to face some adversity, right? The second drive, tackle for loss, fumble, defense comes out, answers the bell, holds them to 3. Offense struggles some more because Northern Illinois starts to kind of, defensively crank it up a little bit. And then they, found a way to keep like throwing some body blows and gut punches, and then it was able to pull away. And so it was led by the defense as it should be, or as it has been.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, with no turnovers from the quarterback position,
Yep.
um, and then they started to dedicate themselves to run the ball conventionally, right? You didn't see a lot of motions and stuff like that. We're going to line up and come at you, and you start to see them kind of impose their will. That allowed the defense to rest more. And then also I want to say, Bushini kind of had a bounce back game. He punted the ball well. And then obviously Phelan Sanford did a really good job of obviously making some tackles in the open field
Mm-hmm.
as the gunner. But that the special teams kind of, stepped up there. So I kind of went, I think it was a good game. It was a much needed game. Wasn't, the best or the prettiest, but, right now winning that way will help this team down the road, right? And Northern Illinois, posed, some problems defensively. Our defense matched. Our offense finally started going. And, to be honest with you, Harburg throwing the ball was, it was decent, and
Yep.
he put it there. I think he needs to really work on some of his fundamentals. But it was a good start for him. I mean, look, you got to think, you know better than me. He hadn't started a game since high school. He hadn't
Yeah.
even played. Listen, you got to think for him where he's came from, and this has nothing to do. Look, by no means is he, Eric Krause, Tommy Frazier, or anything like that. At least not right now. But from the go where he's came from, where you had an offensive coordinator purposely shunning him,
Yep.
not coaching him, not even bringing him on the travel roster,
Mm-hmm.
not giving him any practice reps. So then, therefore, he essentially had a whole year off. I mean, just kind of on his own. And for him to make these strides and be able to get better is very commendable. And he needs to get a lot of credit, because to go from where he was just a year ago, literally like me and you just watching, and then you get, get a chance and make the most out of it. He definitely deserved to have a good showing yesterday.
And after the game, he spoke with the media in the post-game press conference. And Jay, I mean, what everything that you said with his background, where he came from, his 3 years here in the program, not seeing a lot of action, it
Right.
just in his voice, you could hear that it meant a lot to him how he performed on Saturday night. So it was a kind of a really cool moment for an in-state kid from Kearney Catholic who played C1 ball, and now he's
Right.
here in Lincoln and starting for the Huskers that he cheered for growing up as a little kid. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the defense, Jay. They held Northern Illinois to 149 total yards, only 26 yards on the ground. Nash Hutmaker, Ty Robinson, Blaze Gunnerson, all those guys up on the front line did a really good job, along with the linebackers too. So it was just a really good effort from the team. And now they're going to be prepping for a kind of a different looking offense, I guess, next weekend with Louisiana Tech and Sonny Cumbie coming into town with his own version of the air raid. So going to be really interesting to see how that goes. But right now, let's head to the plays. We have five five plays that we're going to break down: a 14-yard run by Gabe Ervin, a 9-yard run by Anthony Grant, Thomas Fanoni's 16-yard touchdown, which was big, which was kind of like a product of Nebraska playing that complementary style football where the defense gets a stop. Well, I guess I should say Buschini downs NIU at their own 1-yard line. The defense gets a 3 and out, and then the offense works with a short field, and that's how they put themselves in position to get that touchdown. And then we're going to take a look at that strip sack that NIU's defense had on Heinrich Harbin and kind of see what went wrong there. Then we're just going to take a look at Buschini's 1-yard or that down punt at the 1. So let's get started right now with the Gabe Ervin's 14-yard run. Jay, what I liked about this, what we talked about before we started filming, was the double teams that the offensive line got on the front here and kind of opened things up for Gabe.
Yeah, it's good. First of all, where they're at on the field, you're backed up here, so you got to get some execution, right? So, the one thing I like is like, okay, look, they're in a 4-4 front. They're trying to stop the run. We're here. We're running, right? This is a running formation. You look at the wing. We're coming at you, right? And I like it right here. You got some good movement right there on the right side, and you got the pullers. And it's a dual block or deuce blocks across the board. You got a double team right here on the 2 eyes, a kind of a slight double team there on the end. Fedoni does a good job right there getting up to the second level. Borkacher does an excellent job against a pretty good defensive end of recovering. First of all, getting some movement, then recovering after initially losing, and then he is able to spring Gabe on this run here, and you got Bullock pulling around trying to get to the edge. So you got the backside blocks here, pretty good, not letting easy penetration, not perfect, but it's good job here. And then you see Ben Scott here in the middle moving up to the second level. So you're seeing guys move, and Thomas Fedoni still trying to destroy little 24. Yeah. Good job trying to be physical, and a really good job by Gabe making that first defensive end or the first defender miss, but it's set up by Borkacher at the point of attack, right? Him and Fedoni and Bullock, and then rest is Gabe Ervin getting to the second level and giving number 9 the business after a 13, 14-yard game. You're at the the 12, 13-yard line. Now you're at the 23, 24-yard line. That's what you want as an offensive coordinator. This gives you confidence that we can move the ball and move guys off the line of scrimmage. Look at this surge right here. Quick off the ball. Piper is quick off the ball right there. You like to see that because he hadn't been, he's been a little bit late. You see Ben Hart and I think Nuri right there getting some good push right there, right? Getting bodies on bodies, getting guys to move. And then Borkacher he has the hardest block out there, right? And if I had to be picky, I'd like a little bit more of a rub by Fedoni because number 4 is a decent player, right? But Borkacher right there, right? Deals with the first initial shock, then has the balance and strength to recover, gets up on him. And then look where the line of scrimmage is. Got him off the line of scrimmage by 2 or 3 yards, right? So that's good teaching tape. It's not going to be perfect. You're outsized as a tight end against that defensive end. That's pretty dang good. So this is a win. This is a winning play. This is a really good play for Nebraska to have confidence in and what they were able to do backed up to get yourself into a more manageable situation. And this is the next play, right? This is Anthony Grant, right? Again, the game 14-3 still in third quarter. A little bit of a pull counter action right here. Great job by Anthony Grant by having patience right here, right? So if you're just a running back that isn't good at reading blocks or making chicken salad out of chicken, look at this. You got Ethan Piper getting blown back, right, by 58. He's smart enough to say, nothing's backside, right? One of the critiques of him last year, everybody said he wanted to cut it back. Then he followed his blocks, right? Good job by Lutovsky and Ethan Piper recovering. And then there goes the hole around the corner. And this is what you want, right? No fair dodging. He's not even giving a move. He's setting them up right here. And then watch him drop the hammer on him, setting the tone, a la against Rutgers, Anthony Grant. Yep. He's not going to the sideline. He's taking the fight to them and letting them know about it. And that's what you have to do. Letting them know, we're here to play. And Anthony Grant, this is another kid, right, where he fumbled the first game, right? Then I don't think he traveled to Colorado. There was no guarantee coming into the game that he was going to play because you got to think Ramir got banged up. He gets it, and he starts to get going. And in these first 2 plays right here that we're going, the thing that's probably most encouraging is that Anthony Grant and Gabe Ervin fed off of each other, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Grant kind of softened him up for Gabe. Gabe started punching holes. Now you got a different runner in Anthony Grant, and then the physicality of both of them should make the coaching staff happy. And Anthony Grant had to let him know about it. But right here, when you look at this play right here, it could have been dead in the water, right? You'd like to see Ethan Piper have a little bit more urgency off the ball, right? He gets blown back. Same with Lutovsky, right? But good job by Ben Scott cleaning up. Good job by Piper kind of recovering and staying on his block. Really good job by Borkature right there with a peel back block on number 0. And the edge was set by Bryce Benhart doing a decent job. Now, and then the rest is Anthony Grant, doing what he does. And so the offensive line play, much as, really, to be honest with you, in the first half, what we'll see here in the next couple plays wasn't up to standard, right? The sense of urgency wasn't there. But I think coming out of halftime and, you see the urgency was there and a lot better. And that's where you start to see the running numbers start to pile up, and you start to see the physicality of the running backs, show more often.
And with this next play, this is Thomas Fidone, 16-yard touchdown pass, a reception. So, Jay, as well as anybody, when as a linebacker, when you're getting hit with those run plays over and over again, and you see that action in the backfield, that play action, you're
Right.
going to want to step up and cheat up it to the line of scrimmage. And then all of a sudden the quarterback pulls the ball and throws it right over the top of you, right? This is what happened here.
Yeah. Really, this is a byproduct of the defensive alignment, right? Fidone's uncovered, so he's getting a free release. So that should tell that safety there about the 8-yard line that he needs to play a little bit deeper. Watch him creeping up here, taking the cheese. Fidone, easy release, touchdown. This is teaching tape 101. What not to do and what to do, right? What not to do as a defender, what to do as an offense. And it's all set up by the running game or a potential running game. Good ball fake here, right? Good job by the offensive line. Fidone didn't get a free release, but he got up in the face of both of those guys. They got 2 defenders there playing footsie, and you got Fidone doing a good job, right? So what Fidone did right here, he didn't get close to the other hash. So number 24, if he was trying to come over and play what's called a cat technique and get an interception, is too far from him.
That nickel defender, you mean, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And you can play like a cat. You're kind of trying to be sly like a cat, right?
Okay.
And so the good job by Fidone is he stayed as close as possible to his hash, and no way getting closer to the other hash, which allowed the ball for Heinrich Harburg, the window, to stay open a little bit longer. And it's 2 weeks back to back. Fidone has a touchdown. So it's a good execution. Or first of all, it's a good play call, good execution, but it's really good on the little things by Fidone, because generally an inexperienced tight end or some of the little details, you would be running all the way to the other hash and getting yourself covered. And so it's a good read. You're reading the defense in the zone on the run. So that's, that's just part of being a decent player and coming into your own. And look, this is 3 games in a row. Fidone is starting to get better and better, right? So, I think that, you're going to start to see some more things from him and Borkature as they get going, and maybe maybe they're gaining more confidence in Marcus Satterfield in his play calling, because what Borkature, showed you in the first 2 plays, and Fidone in the first 2 plays in the run game, and then this right here. Now, granted, you're supposed to make this play, but it's a game-winning play. This pretty much sealed the game right here, because Northern Illinois couldn't move the ball past the 50 if their life depended on it. So it's good to get this going into halftime as well. There's 3 minutes and 22 seconds left. It's the difference between going in up 11 or just going up, by 7. If it's 10-3 versus 14-3, 2-score game versus 1-score. So, I think it's it's a step in the right direction. Good blocking here, good passing, and then obviously, like we mentioned before, Harburg, look, you're throwing off your back foot. It's something that he needs to really. This is an inexperience of him, but he has good arm strength, right? He's a big old strong kid. He's able to get it there on time. But he needs to just tighten up on his fundamentals.
One thing that I was wondering about with this play, Jay, so that's a single high safety up there near the goal line. So what I'm wondering about is the single high safety kind of takes the coverage of Marcus Washington here at the bottom, who's running an in-breaking route, and Billy Kemp in the slot is running a route to the flat. And so we know that 24, that nickel defender, comes off of him, but that the route combination towards the field kind of takes up those two defenders, because the corner that's initially on Marcus Washington breaks off and takes Billy Kemp on the flat,
Right.
and so it kind of creates more room. Correct? Is that a good play design from Marcus Satterfield then?
Well, it's a good play design, but it's a bad execution defense wise. First of all,
Okay.
the defense is lined up wrong, right? So if you go back to the very beginning, so you look at the corner, right? A negative or nasty split. So he can essentially, if he wanted to, he could cover the tight end and the receiver up there. So then you got another linebacker or nickel right there. Here comes the drop down safety. And then you have the other linebacker. Essentially, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders for only 2 receivers to the offense's right side of the football from the center over. So then what should have happened is the linebacker that had the bad read, he should be in a hook drop. The safety is your hook defender, and the guy at the top of the screen is your flat defender. So realistically, it's a good play design. The defense should have stopped it. These guys just busted it. But that's where touchdowns come from. I mean, look at this. You got 3 guys covering nobody. If you go back to it, you can stop it. When you stop it right about here, who are they covering?
Right there.
Right.
3 bodies in one area. Yeah.
And there's not one receiver out in a route right there. You see that? So it's just a bust. And 24, I'm willing to say busted as well, or maybe he's a hook dropper. But the 2 guys in the middle, and I'm even going to say the drop down safety busted it anyways, because you still need a middle of the field safety. So either way, I'm sure they're having a rough time in meetings today with that call, because to be honest with you, if I'm the head coach of Northern Illinois, I'm saying, look, we stop them and we hold them to 10-3 going into halftime.
Yeah,
we can win this game. Now we're down 2 scores and we can't even. Now we're struggling. So now we got our back double against the wall. So, anyways, look, good play for Nebraska, bad play for them, and it helped seal the victory.
And here on the Blackshirt Breakdown, we obviously like to talk about the good plays, but let's talk about the bad plays too. Let's not ignore them. So this is a strip sack on Heinrich Harburg.
Right.
Just Jay, what do you see here? A lot of heat coming off the edge here on Ben Hart's side on the right side.
Right. So let's hesitate before we play it, but let's think about this, right? You just walk the ball down the field. Defense gets you the ball back. You're pinned down a little bit. You want to try to say, okay, let's be physical here. You see at the bottom of the screen, Heinrich Harburg, 2 for 2, 36 yards. One thing we didn't say, his first pass to Marcus in Washington was on time and on target, right? Touchdown pass to Billy Kemp. Okay, so he's got the confidence. Now let's start to lean on this offensive line. I mentioned before, they did not come out with the sense of urgency. Everybody getting knocked back and nobody's blocking anybody. It's a simple block here by Bryce Benhart. You have to block back. You don't need to step down, right? So he steps way down because Borkacher is pulling here, right? Borkacher and Latofsky. And the center's blocking back. You 2-hand touch him. I call it freeze tag. Next thing you know, quarterback couldn't even, he was trying to get it to him, right? And then, sack, force, fumble. And then, you can kind of take your momentum away. So right here, right, the sense of urgency, Ben Scott's got to do a better job right here of sealing off 51, right? And, right, so there's penetration there. And Bryce Benhart definitely didn't do his job there. And also at the top of the screen, I think Turner Corcoran, he's whiffed as well. So, for the offensive line coming out after you should have superior confidence in that first drive, you got, 3 or 4, minuses there. No, that was Latofsky. Excuse me. I don't want to give Turner Corcoran a bad grade. So, so you had the 3 most important guys in this play, all with minuses. Benhart, Scott, Latofsky. Latofsky's pulling, right? Way too deep. He needs to settle down right there and see how his head, he's a lunging right there.
Yeah.
You're right. You got to stay square on him. Bryce Benhart, self-explanatory. And then 51 is in the backfield on Ben Scott right here. Ben Scott has the hardest block, right? Okay. Maybe Borkacher could have peeled back and get him, but he's not. The play isn't designed for to have that many white shirts back there and that many red shirts not having anybody, to block. So it was a big part of the game where the momentum was taken away, but then Nebraska got it right back where the defense held them to a field goal. So it was a sudden change, right? And this is part of evaluating your team and your defense. And then you like where they, stepped up and made a play here. But, this type of attention to detail just needs to be, tightened up. And, all these guys have played too much football, besides Latowski. And Bryce Benhart, no, you shouldn't even really look inside, right? Blitz isn't coming. The guy's 3 yards away. And if he does blitz, the Ben Scott's going to be there, because that means 51 wouldn't be there. So who you're blocking right now. When you come up to the line of scrimmage right now as a right tackle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could take a quick step right there. 1, 2. It's got to be 1, 2, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that right there? And then the feet are dead. You see how the feet die right there? And then you become a pusher, right? And so you got to understand he's in a wide technique there as well, right? And so that right there hurts. And so, look, but it's all about learning to, do the little things that lead to big things. Now, you could say, hey, maybe we could have went to more of a conventional run game and maybe another tight end, because look at Billy Kemp right there. You could get a tight end there and give him a little bit of help, maybe a wing set. But ultimately, you can't whiff like this and get your quarterback exposed, because it's not just the sack forced fumble. He could be sitting in the locker room, if Grant Wistrom or Jay Foreman or Randy Gregory or Jason Peter were hitting him, he'd be out, and so these are the things that you got to do, and these are the things Louisiana Tech is going to be looking to try to do. So you got to make sure you're addressing them right now.
Yeah, it's a number 51 in white. I just realized that's Cade Haberman, Omaha West Side product too. A couple native Nebraskans on NIU's roster. Cade Haberman getting in the backfield there. So Jay, good stuff as always, but let's finish with this. You wanted to talk about this Brian Buschini downed at the 1 yard line. This is just an excellent job. Fallon Sanford has been doing this for years at Nebraska. I feel like he's put on scholarship recently in this offseason. So this obviously was complimentary football with the defense, special teams, and the offense cashing in with that Fedoni touchdown.
Yeah, good for him here. He's struggled the first 2 weeks and not played up to, I wouldn't say struggle, but not played up to his expectation. Mm-hmm. Look at the score, 7-3, 7 minutes left. We got to make something happen here before halftime, right? Great job. Well, poor job by Northern Illinois not blocking the gunner. But, their poor job is our win, right? Phelan Sanford does a good job of tracking the ball, right? Does a good job, got his butt to the goal line, secures it, gets him down at the 1. But even look, it's a great punt right from the get-go, right, by Buschini. Good height and stuff like that. So it's great to see him bounce back, right? Because everybody knows he can be an all-conference punter. Great job by Sanford here. And you see his hard work has paid off, and that's good for the program to be on scholarship. Mm-hmm. But this is the really big play of the game. You're 7-3, you're struggling. Yeah. You want to pin him down, get a defense to stop, and then get a quick score. We already addressed it in the plays previous, right, with the Fedoni touchdown. Mm-hmm. This is what set it up, cause and effect, right? Mm-hmm. The cause was, which is in a good way, the great punt, better job by Sanford downing it, defense stopping him, offense gets in the back. We go in 14-3 and able to get the ball starting the half. So, I think it's, complimentary foot. This is what Matt Rule wanted to see. Now, granted, it's against Northern Illinois. We hadn't done it against Minnesota and Colorado, but when you're trying to teach a team how to win football games, pretty ugly or in between, you got to make these plays. You got to do these things. You got to play complementary football. Sometimes the offense is going to start fast and then struggle. Sometimes the defense is going to start fast and then struggle. Special teams has got to step up. That's what they did tonight, that's what they did the other night, and that's what building a good team and program is about. So they should all feel confident, about what they did and be happy for themselves. But by no means are all the problems solved, because you got to keep moving on, and now you're on to Louisiana Tech. But it's a step in the right direction, whether it's big or small.
Absolutely. So, really great stuff, Jay. I think I think Marcus Satterfield said it before the NIU game earlier in the week. A lot of other teams had, the benefit of playing like maybe the Northern Illinois and the Louisiana Techs of the world the first 2 weeks, and then they get into the Minnesota and Colorado games. But it was flip-flop for Matt Rule. It is what it is. It's a schedule. But I don't know. I just think that the NIU game, like you said, just right now, Jay, is, they were able to do stuff and work on stuff, and they're going to be a better team for it down the line. So really, really good stuff. Any initial thoughts on Louisiana Tech? I mean, Sonny Cumbie, former Texas Tech Red Raider quarterback, Mike Leach disciple, air raid guy.
Yeah, they're going to try to pose problems to our defense, but I watched them a few times, and they're up and down, right? One game they play good defense and bad offense. One time they So you just never know where you're going to get. I think you prepare for the best. And as far as the Northern Illinois game, all the things that they did well and some of the things they didn't do well will be all for nothing if they don't go out and double down on the performance and go back and get better at some of the things that they need to continue to work at. And if they do that, then it's a big step. And so this is actually a more important game than Michigan or Northern Illinois. How do you deal with success?
Mm-hmm.
And that's winning. How do you handle winning? And that's everybody from the coaching staff, the staff, and the players. Saturday at 2:30 is going to tell you a lot about this team heading into Michigan and the rest of the season.
Great stuff, as always, Jay Foreman. So that was the Blackshirt Breakdown, Northern Illinois edition. I am Steve Marek. He is Jay Foreman, and we will catch y'all guys next week.